going in the background somewhere. The heck? Oh, it's iTunes, I think. Sorry, guys. I've got the podcast going in my ear for some reason. Rob, you don't hear it, do you? The
No.
heck? Just started playing. I don't know where it's even playing. It's just, oh, it's this page right here. I don't know why that started playing. Crazy. Okay, so this is your assignment here. And so, but back to this process is in that webinar, I walk you through step one and give you the template, the Lucidchart mind map, so you can download that mind map and build this out yourself. But the key is to understand that Facebook, when you're running Facebook campaigns, when you're trying to sell stuff online, you've got to realize that people on Facebook, you can target people based on how warmed up they are to your business. Okay, so on the left side here, this is kind of your audiences that you're going to place your ads in front of. And so you have to look at it like, some ads are going to be targeting cold audiences, interest, you're using the interest targeting right inside Facebook. Some ads are going to be targeting fans that have already warmed up, they've already liked your page. Some ads are going to be targeting your custom audiences, which is we call this non-converted website custom audiences and video custom audiences. So people that have either landed on a blog post, somewhere on your website, or maybe have watched one of your video ads, okay, but have not opted in or not yet bought. So you're going to have different ads in front of those people. So then as people move down into your world, they become leads or subscribers, and then they become customers, right? Maybe they become high-end clients. So that's how it works. So the cool thing is by using Facebook's targeting, including and excluding, you can say, hey, I want to target somebody who has visited a blog post here, but is not a lead, right? So you can include this audience in your targeting, and you can exclude this audience. It's just right inside the targeting, and that's how you do it. But the key is to really map this out first, because if you look at this, it can be overwhelming, right? And so what you want to do is you want to start mapping this out, but you don't have to start with all of it, right? So you might start with step one, run a light campaign, and you might have a light campaign, you might have one ad like this, okay, traditional kind of link post ad, driving traffic to a piece of ungated content, okay, a blog content, goodwill content, where you're building lists, so everybody that hits this page, all 1,000 visitors, are now on your custom audience. So you have 1,000 people on that invisible list. And then maybe you're running a regular ad or maybe a video ad. And start with one at a time. Maybe do two, depends on how many resources you have. And maybe this is going to an opt-in page, like a Facebook checklist or a demo software demo or a webinar. These are basically the same. These are both kind of lead magnets, okay? So maybe you choose one and you pick one. And then that's it. You don't have to have all the rest of this stuff down here, okay? You don't have to have all this stuff right out. So that's the key. You want to start out with those three main ads, a light campaign, ungated content, and then some kind of a conversion-based ad. And that'll get you started, okay? And then you're going to start looking at your data and start building onto that. So, and we walk through Betty Rocker's kind of map that she's built in that webinar, and I talk about how she didn't build this all at once. She's got a system now running. She's got light campaigns, content amplification ads, warming people up. She's got lead gen campaigns. She's got ads going to sales pages, okay? More ads going to sales pages, video ads, video retargeting ads. Was this all built once? Hell no. Okay? Hell no. It started out with 3 basic ads, and she's been building on it ever since because she's mapped it out, and also by using Facebook's reporting to see how stuff is doing. So that's what you're going to do, and that's the key. Once you start mapping it out, it makes it easier for you to not be so overwhelmed. So that's important. So step 2 is to, once you map it out, now you've got to create that or improve that kind of Facebook friendly hook. So that's either going to be maybe if you have a brand new account, or maybe you're in the fitness industry and you got your ad account shut down, you're starting up a new account, or you're you've never ran ads before, or you're just super nervous, what we do is, for example, we've got a client that had his ad account shut down. We got a new account started up, and all we did was drive traffic to content like this right here, ungated goodwill content, because this is a Facebook friendly hook, right? It could be a piece of content like this. It could be a webinar registration page. It could be kind of a lead magnet style thing. It could be a coupon page. It could be anything, right? But you're going to publish that Facebook hook if it's a conversion type of page, right? If it's a landing page like this where you want people to opt in, you've got to have a thank you page, right? And you've got to think about what you want to happen next. In my case, I've got like a little impulse buy offer where they can get the book plus the Facebook Fast Start for free plus $4.95 in shipping, right? But let's say I was just starting out and I didn't want to drive traffic to a webinar. Then all I would do is I would just start with this page right here, just the content page. That's a hook too, right? So, and then I'm just going to make sure I've got good, strong calls to action throughout that kind of page. Does that make sense, Ralph?
Totally. We've got a question actually about
Sure.
shouldn't you do step 4 of this whole thing first? Richard asked that question, which is actually a good question.
Yeah. So basically, it kind of depends. So you are talking about the kind of the target audience, the research phase.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Yeah. Yeah. So great question. So for me, it's kind of like when I work with a client, we start here. We figure out what is going to be your hook. I mean, what's your USP? What makes you stand out, right? What is, you know, I don't think the target audience research phase for me is more about targeting. It's you're not trying, unless you got a brand new business and you're trying to like figure out what your product is, and that's a whole nother thing. And then you're trying to figure out what you actually want to sell, then you might start in the target audience research phase. But if you've already got a product or a service, you've got to figure out this first, then go to targeting. In my opinion, all day long. This is way more important. Honestly, you can get the targeting wrong, and if you get this part right, you can still win. So you've got to figure out, like, okay, what's a good lead magnet that is high enough up in my funnel? And we're going to spend a whole webinar on this stuff right here. Step 2, we're going to spend a webinar. It's coming up, so don't worry, I can't go too deep into this. But, and same with your content. We're going to talk about what's good for a lead magnet, what kind of content is good. You know, a 300 or 400 word article is not what you want. You want epic content that you could use as a lead magnet, or you could even sell as a front-end product, okay? That's the key here. But you can't just win with just content, right? You've got to have something that people are going to take action to. So you might start driving traffic into this to kind of warm up, you know, get some goodwill, get some high relevant scores with Facebook, so it kind of makes your account look good with Facebook, get some good, you know, build some goodwill with your account with Facebook too. But you've got to have some kind of conversion mechanism, otherwise, you know, you can't win. And maybe you're not running ads to that. Maybe you've just got like pop-ups on this page. Maybe you've got good, strong calls to action throughout, and so that can work that way too. So the next step, basically simultaneously, as you're publishing these pages, you got to make sure that you have your conversion pixels placed on the right pages and your custom audience pixels placed on those pages and also created. So we've actually got the webinar about this already done. We don't have the checklist done yet, but we've got the webinar done, so you can actually watch the recorded webinar for this process. Okay, these both work together, and I love how Facebook has changed their interface recently to have like custom audiences and conversion pixels like together, but they have got like 2 separate tabs, so it's easier to understand that these things are kind of they work together, but they're also separate. It can be really confusing. So, but that's going to be step 3, and then watch that webinar to go deep into that. So basically, step 4 is your target audience research phase. Now, Can you be doing this the whole entire time? Absolutely. Like when we get on a call with a new coaching client or done for you client, we first thing we do is we talk about their offer. If I know, is that going to be something that's high enough? Is that going to be something that you're not going to look like that guy that's shaking my hand at the party and pitching me 30 seconds later. So like if you're selling a project management software, then you can't usually lead with your project management software, the results that gets, right? You can't lead with a benefit of a project. Sometimes you can't lead with that because it might be too soon, because you've got to like make people aware that they're frustrated with not being able to manage projects or being too busy and spending too much time on their business instead of in their business. And so we have to figure out how are we going to educate people? Are we going to educate people on why they need a good project management software, or why the one they're using sucks, and then intro yours? So there's things like that you got to think about before you can start really running, doing this target audience research. But as we figure that out, the first thing we talk about this on that same call. So it's typically we figure out what the first kind of hook is going to be. Then we start talking about target audience, and we have them go create their spreadsheet, start doing research on their own as they're kind of creating. Maybe they're writing their article or making a video. This is happening simultaneously. So it's kind of like, yes, it's step 4 is after step 2, but it's really happening simultaneously, right? I might be working on my outline for my video for an hour, and then I might go spend half an hour doing some audience research and kind of filling out that spreadsheet, and that's going to happen over a period of days because you just can't do it all at once.
I think just to clarify that is because this is 2 and 4 are definitely intermingled quite a bit.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, you have to think about in step 2, like how you're gonna captivate your audience. Now, it might be through a blog post, it might be through ungated content, it might be through a free trial, it might be through a checklist, it might be through a lot of different things. So you have to sort of brainstorm about that. But if you don't know who your audience is in step number 2, it's going to be challenging to do it. So that is something like for a startup company like that company that we were talking about. This was a little bit more of a challenge. We sort of intermingled
Sure.
2 and 4 a little bit.
Yep.
So, but yeah, you definitely have to think about the 2 in concert with each other. Step 4 is more like, all right, now Facebook, tell me what type of interests I can now target to go after and get my message in front of my ideal customer.
Right.
So,
Yeah. Exactly. And so it's totally, Richard. It's totally. Sometimes and you know what? Use your gut feeling there. I mean, if you have a client that just has no clue about their audience, then yeah, maybe you do kind of start there. But that really still, once you kind of figure out who their audience is, you still don't. That's not. I feel like they have to know their product and their solution first. It's got to be the key. So, okay. So now step 4 is this phase, right? So this is fun. This is make sure you go listen to the podcast, because Bree talks about this in I think episode 4, where she talks. I think episode 5 actually, where she's really frustrated, and I think she mentions it in 4 how she hates spreadsheets, and then she starts to really realize how important this really was. And this ended up, she resisted us having her create this spreadsheet and do this and get involved with us in it, but it ended up being the best thing ever because she knew her audience better than us. But knowing what she knew combined with Facebook's numbers that they spit out and audiences, that's how she won or was winning. And then it's pretty cool. On a side note on that, it's funny, she's on this call right now too, is I texted her last night because I was listening to episode 4, and I didn't tell you this, Ralph, either, but I think I texted you and Molly this late last night too.
yeah.
I was listening to episode 4, and which is the first one with Betty Rocker on it, and because we recorded that maybe like a month, I don't know, 6 weeks ago maybe, at least probably 6 weeks ago, not that long ago, but
Yep.
I was like blown away on how much she's improved since we recorded that episode even. And that episode, those 3 episodes are about how good she's doing, right? And how she was brand new with Facebook ads 6 months ago, and how much she's grown since then. And now I'm seeing in the last 6 weeks, I mean, she's a ninja in there now, like helping our other clients like with reporting and stuff like that. It's just crazy on how you can learn this stuff if you just implement. and continue to like and do the little things like we're talking about here. So it's pretty cool to see. So all right, so step 4, target audience research. You're gonna the two best tools are Facebook Audience Insights. Go ahead and type in the question box if you don't know where that is. I'm gonna assume most people do, but if you don't, no big deal. It's basically, it will show you online. It's on the left side of your ads manager. And you're gonna use that in combination with Facebook search, okay? And Audience Insights is the best tool by far. I like Facebook search a lot of times. Sometimes it really sucks because it spits out like nothing that makes even sense. um,
True.
because yeah, Facebook search tries to personalize it. So sometimes, let's say if you have a client that's selling um, watches, and but you don't like watches, like luxury watches. You know, let's say you're 25 years old and you're into a lot of different stuff, right? And it'll try to pull pages that are related to that search, but also that a majority of your friends like. So sometimes it's definitely distorted. The more that you're in that industry yourself, the better the results will be. If that makes sense. So for me, usually my results are pretty good when I'm searching about my brand because I like a lot of pages related to it. But the reason I like Facebook search better in some ways is because I can search pages liked by people who like Dominate Web Media and Frank Kern. Or I can search pages liked by people who like Dominate Web Media and Perry Marshall and Frank Kern. And so I can get sometimes a little bit even better results because you have that and relationship. So with the audience insights, it doesn't really let us choose and or. So um, do we even know when you put in like 3 audiences here, like on the left side, HubSpot? So I still don't know for sure. Do you, Ralph? If that's like somebody that likes either of those 3, that's how I've always thought. Because of the audience gets bigger, I believe. Yeah,
I don't really know. Yeah, I'm not sure. I only
actually,
use the
I
two as like the and, so I don't know.
yeah. So I've always been 99% sure. I'm gonna go check, and I think I already know the answer to this. Um, that it is they like either one of those because the audience gets bigger at the top of it. Um, so um, let's just look real quick. So inside Audience Insights here, I can put, let's say, Tony Robbins. So yeah, so see, this is 2.5, 2 to 2.5 million people, and now if I want to put in Perry Marshall, this audience will it didn't get bigger. That's weird. Let's put entrepreneurship, which should be a big audience. Yeah, so see, it went to 10 million. Of course, it took out. That's weird. Tony Robbins. Of course, I used it too big of an audience to make a difference. Let's look up Brennan Burchard, see what happens, even though they have similar audiences. It's not changing. All right, let's try another one. Let's do Ryan Dice. 350 to 400, and let's do Perry Marshall. It's weird. It's keeping it the same, which actually makes me kind of worried. That should either get smaller or bigger, right?
Hmm.
Usually it gets bigger, and that means you're looking at this page like data based on people who like either one of those. So let's try let's do this. Let's do Nike and 15 to 20 million Tiffany Company. It stayed the same. That's so weird. Something's wrong. This is not working properly. This is another reason why I don't love Audience Insights, is sometimes as much as Facebook search. So if you go to Facebook Graph Search, watch what happens here. So I can say, this is why you got to use both. Always, you cannot just stick with one of these. You can't just use Audience Insights because some of the results they spit out are weird. Liked by people who like dominate web media. Okay, so we get those results, right? But if I put people who like dominant web media and let's put Chamber of Commerce or something like that. We want to have like a national. Let's put Rotary International. So I'm getting different results right now. I'm getting the Daily Dot. I'm getting Brennan Burchard. I'm getting some some weird ones too, right? But you can do that. So you can do and relationships. So I like that. Now, just realize some of these are going to be weird, right? But what you're going to do is the first thing you're going to do is you're going to start just taking these results, copy and pasting them into a spreadsheet, okay? And do the same with audience insights. So audience insights, you can find out a ton about your audience. You can upload your lists. You can check competitors, fans. There's lots you can do in there, and we've got other trainings in the members area on this whole process. So let me know, Ralph, if you can hear a background noise as we go, because it looks like the yard guys seems like they like to always show up when I'm doing a live call training or something.
No, I can't hear them. I've got earphones on, so.
Yeah, they're out the other side. So I'll have to run inside. I'm sitting out on the back patio here. It's where I usually work in the spring and summer here, in case you don't know that. So they just showed up here. So if they come around back, it's going to be loud, and I'll just have to move inside. So, but what you're going to do is you're going to create a Google Docs spreadsheet, and you're going to start dumping everything into that, okay? Just everything you can think of that comes from these results. And use other resources. Use Amazon.com and use Google, okay? You're going to get a lot of data from those resources too. And then you can start to organize the spreadsheet after you get more data into it. So,
hey, one more that I think a lot of people use too is the ads manager itself, clicking the suggestions button, because you can get a lot of really good ones there, especially if you've already got one or two or three related interests. Facebook will figure out their algorithm based upon what you've already put in as interests and then spit out other suggestions for you. So that's when you're actually making the ads. Sometimes we go through this and then just dump everything into a spreadsheet and then go to make the ads, and all of a sudden new interests that totally make sense that are right in that niche all of a sudden appear as we're making the ads.
And I usually have this in as part of my list. I used to.
Yeah.
So great point. Just in the ads manager. And another point to that is this is where you have to be really careful, because sometimes you'll notice what they put, what drops down as the suggested audiences, because sometimes if you have a celebrity or a name, there might be an actor that's the same as like a celebrity in the fitness niche. And so if you see the suggested audiences or interests that they choose that have nothing to do with your business, then odds are that interest is not going to work for you. Okay, and this happens all the time when we're on calls with clients. Trying to think the one that just happened the other day. It was a movie. It was actually an old movie, and it wasn't. I was like, no, that wouldn't work, because the movie was named that interest. And so I was like, why is it spitting out this stuff? And so I was like, that's not an audience you can use. So always be aware of that. Be real careful. So, all right. So start like campaign. This is the next step. So basically what you're going to do is always be running like campaigns in the background, okay? Because there's three main reasons why you want to do this, but the key here is, notice this: getting ROI from social media, like us, and watch client case studies on how we do it. The other one, want to rock and body, like my page for awesome tips, awesome recipes, workouts, and lean body tips. By the way, this page has like 105, 106,000 on it now.
Crazy.
By spending like less than $200 a day. Pretty cool. So the key here, though, is we're not saying, click like if you love new customers. I'm not just saying that. She's not saying click like if you want to be, click like if you love being thin or something like that, right? She's saying click like for awesome recipes. I'm saying click like to watch client case studies. So I'm asking them to raise their hand to get more from me. So I don't think I was showing my screen just now. Was I?
It's frozen on. Yeah, here it is.
Pause. Sorry about that. I didn't
Yeah.
realize that. Um,
These
so
these are super important, by the way. I mean, I always refer back to because in the Facebook ads forum and in the Facebook group, I think I actually posted one today for one of the Shark Tank, Lori Grenier. Like I saw a like ad for her, and I'm like, this is how you do it because it's like super specific to like that question mark, then what you want them to do. And we see this a lot. A lot of you guys who are in the forum or in the Facebook group rather. I don't know why I keep saying forum, but in the Facebook group, keep asking about this because this is really the formula. I wouldn't deviate from this too much. That first question should be something that's really specific to your avatar, what they really want. Like, we're not saying like social media. Like, we don't care if you like, so everybody likes social media, but getting ROI from social media, like that's our avatar. That's the kind of person that's on this call. You want to get ROI from this, your direct marketer. So it really speaks to that avatar exactly with that question, as well as that benefit statement telling them what to do, like us. And in our case, we're an agency that also educates. So client case studies. So it's specific. So it's got that real sort of personality to it, just like what Bree does in her ad, and just like the one that I posted this morning with Lori Grenier. So definitely use that formula because it works.
right. Yep. Okay. So now, why do you want to do these? I'll show you why. So basically, one reason is because you get more fans you can remarket to. That's pretty obvious, right? Number two is because you can increase friends of fans connection targeting, right? So notice the audiences here where we're targeting people that like Dominate Web Media. We're targeting people that like Tony Robbins, but also people who have friends that are connected to Dominate Web Media. So it's 160,000. If I was just to target Tony Robbins, 31 to 65 years old, that might be, 1,200,000 or something, right? In the US. Instead of being, or maybe that's 800,000 because of my age in the US only, but it goes from 800,000 down to 160, which is a much more targeted audience. What that means is that, I'll show you what it looks like here, is this. Whoops, one more up, wrong way. So see that at the top of this ad? This is not a like ad. This is just a regular ad going to a content page. But notice how when I see this in my newsfeed, it says Talking More Ralph Burns and 10 others like $1 Million Coach. It's because he's targeting me because maybe I like business coaching, and I have a friend that is a fan of $1 Million Coach. So that's what happens. And when people see their friends' names above your page, it's instant credibility. You get. Trust me, this helps your future ads. This is why you do this. So you're going to increase that friends and fans targeting, and then are also going to discover important data. You can run cheap like campaigns and start to figure out what audiences are most engaging with your brand. So step 6 is you're going to create that Facebook post. So obviously, if you're running ads in Facebook, it's got to start somewhere. If it's in the news feed, this is called native advertising. You want it to look like a post, right? Something that you would just post organically, like that. You want it to be something that looks like a post that somebody would just post on their page and not an ad. So how can you do this? There's 3 different ways, really. One, you can do it right on your page here, or you can use the Power Editor here, or the Facebook Ads Manager, and this is where you can literally create the post right inside your Ads Manager. In case you didn't want it to show up like on your timeline on your Facebook page, and it's cool too because you can get a preview of what it's going to look like. You can see, is my link going to show up here, or is it going to have the See More button for them to have to click before they can see my link? How does it look in mobile? How does it look in desktop? So you can do that right in there. So now, step 7 is to amplify that post to your target audience. 2 ways to do this. One way is right from your Facebook page itself. And this is what we recommend doing in most cases. If the post, if you're okay with publishing that post publicly and having it on your Facebook timeline if they come to your page, but you just hit the boost post button here and it pops up where you can amplify that. These ads get actually approved faster and sometimes approved easier too. And you can use some real basic targeting here. You'll see I can choose some interests, countries, et cetera, et cetera. And then as far as my budget, it's a little bit different. I can choose boost that for 1 to 7 days, and then it's just a total budget. You can't set a daily budget. So you can do it that way, but once you do it that way, now you can actually go into your ads manager or power editor and you can duplicate that ad and you can extend that out if you want, and you can run different types of objective ads like clicks to website or website conversion ads. So you can just kind of get it started this way. And the other way to do it is to right here, like if you're inside the ads manager or the power editor, you can create that ad, right? You can create the post right in here, and then you can use a lot more ninja targeting and stuff that you cannot do when you boost a post. For example, this is a target audience where we're targeting people who like Tony Robbins, but also are inside the lookalike audience that we created based on our customers, right? So this is an audience Facebook created about 2.4 million people in the US that have similar likes, interests, and behaviors as our customers. So if that was targeted just alone, it might be around 2 million people, right? But I'm targeting people that like Tony Robbins and are also in this list. So now I've got 76,000 people, highly targeted audience, which is going to work really, really well. So you cannot do that if you just boost a post. You've got to use the power editor or the ads manager. And I recommend using the power editor for this stuff and just getting used to it.
Hey, Keith, just explain why you boost the posts sometimes first and then go into the power editor or the ads manager afterwards. What's the rationale for that?
Sure. Now, first of all, you don't have to do that, okay? You do not have to do that. There's a couple reasons why I like doing it. Number one, it's easy. So it's fast and easy. So, and also you get more organic love when you boost a post from your page than you do when you do it this way. We don't have a lot of hard data on this, but we do have split tests that we've seen where the engagement level, the organic reach is way higher when you boost a post compared to the ads that you created strictly in the ads manager. They get approved quicker. What I like to do sometimes is do that because this way it gives me it lets me know that Facebook's going to approve that ad before I go and I create all these campaigns with different targeting groups and different ad sets and everything before I put all that work into creating a bunch of ads and then getting them disapproved, right? So if you get it, if you boost a post, get it approved, and then go in there and start working in the ads manager, what that does is it gives you the comfort of knowing that. So this is a big deal because if you go out, especially if you don't run a lot of ads, if you go out and you create a campaign and let's say you've got like 20 different target audience groups, and so you create 20 different ad sets, and maybe inside those ad sets you've got three different images that you're testing. So you just submitted 20 ad sets, each have 3 ads, so you submitted 60 ads, and then they get disapproved because it has too much text. So now Facebook just disapproved 60 ads in your account, and that shows that you just got 60 ads disapproved, and it's bad. All the stuff adds up, and trust me, this is why a lot of brand new accounts get banned because it's like a percentage of disapproved ads compared to approved ads. And I know this because when I created a year, 2 years ago, when I created my business manager, Facebook, for some reason they do this sometimes, like they created a new Facebook account for me connected to my profile. I don't even know why it happened. I've seen it happen with other clients, but they did that, and I boosted a couple posts and I didn't realize that they were connected to that new account Facebook created, and the second or third, like the third one I did got disapproved, and then that account got shut down. This is like a year and a half ago, and it was a new account that like Facebook created for some stupid reason. I don't even know why, and because it's like out of that history of that account, I had submitted like 2 or 3 ads, maybe 2, and one got disapproved, so it was like a 50% disapproval, and I think it had the word Facebook in it too, so that was like a red flag, even though I get ads disapproved with that all the time now, but I have so much history in my regular main account. It's okay. So does that make sense?
Yeah, I think that's an important point. And we've made this mistake of doing this, by the way. I mean, just by creating multiple ads, and then some of them get disapproved, some of them get approved. But I think the best way to do this is just first. I think there's two benefits to it. You want to step into this thing slowly, and you want to create a bunch of ads like right off the bat. I think most people do, at least the ones that we engage in inside the group. But this just sort of dips your toe into the water first. Just make sure that Facebook approves this if they're cool with it. And the approvals actually happen faster, we find, with Boost Posts for whatever reason. It seems like it's just way faster. But also, another thing that we kind of stumbled on is that when a client account, they were just doing Boost Posts to their fans, and it was getting way more engagement, lower cost per engagement, way more likes, comments, shares, you name it, versus ones that we were doing as page post engagement ads inside the ads manager. It was almost like a 2-to-1 margin. So I think, and I'm not sure about this, but I think Facebook wants you to get early successes and early wins when you start advertising with them. So I think they favor the Boost Post a little bit more than inside the ads manager because they want to like hook you on the drug. They give you that first high, and then now you're hooked. Now you got to keep going back in and spending more money with them after the fact. So I'm not sure about it, but we have seen that.
Yeah, it's really smart actually.
It's really smart of them to do it. So
Yep. So I'm gonna real quick. Good point. Bree made a good point when I was making comments about her. Going from 30,000 fans, by the way, back in like December to 105. It's probably 110,000. She's getting like 5,000 or 10,000 a week now. It's crazy. But yeah, I said she's spending less than $200 a day, and when I said that, I meant she's spending less than $200 a day on her entire campaigns, like on all this stuff here, all these different ads, right? And so she's spending $14 a day on light campaigns. She set them up as $14 a day originally way back when, and she's never changed it. She's just been kind of optimizing it, but now they're just kind of running in the background. But she's getting way more fans than just from her light campaigns, because when you're running these content amplification ads, people like the heck out of your page, okay? I have an example. We have a client that spent like $200,000 on Facebook ads the last couple of years, and they haven't been able to build a blog, and all they're doing is running lead gen this whole entire time, and we've been telling them to do this for 2 years, and they've got like 75,000 fans now, and I'm like, if you guys would have been doing this stuff that we keep talking about in addition to just lead gen, I would say they'd have 250,000 fans right now, and their custom audiences would be like 3 million.
yeah,
It's frustrating.
so
So
frustrating. They've spent so
it,
much money too. If they just had that, man, we could have like 3, 4, 500,000 fans right now, and those
yeah,
fans are super good targets for you. Like you're building this as an audience for you to target to buy your stuff eventually. Yeah, it's a great
yep.
vanity metric that you've got, all these fans, but
But it increases this right here. So instead of
yeah,
seeing
and that
10
too.
others who like $1 million coach, I see 47 others like, $1 million coach.
It's huge. It's huge.
Yeah.
And this is not like likes just to get likes. Everyone, like us on Facebook. You guys see all those signs all over the place. What the heck does that mean? It doesn't make any sense unless you're their ideal customer. So like us on Facebook means, get put your like campaign in front of your ideal customer so that they can eventually opt in and buy your service or product at a later date. So, and also it's a great way to test audiences and interests on top of that. So,
Right, right. So, okay, so basically, um, let's go to step 8. So step 8 is going to be to, uh-oh, they're coming around this side. I'm gonna have to go inside. Um, Ralph, I'm gonna let you take over for a second here. So I gotta mute for 1 minute. I gotta move my computer here and get some background noise.
you betcha. All right, here we go. All right, step 8. Build audiences and get conversions. This is where you're going to be putting all your work in steps 1 through 7, obviously, to work through your interest targeting. And most importantly, you're starting to build up your website custom audiences. if you're doing ungated content, we typically will do sort of a combination of a couple of different things, like campaigns, ungated content, meaning just straight to a blog post. And you can see on the slide there, the one that's on the left is called a page post link ad. That probably was, I know for a fact, that was actually put on the Dominate Web Media page. We boosted it initially to our targets, which is Amy Porterfield and a bunch of like social media kind of targeting groups. So we got the okay from Facebook that it's a good ad for us to start promoting. So then we would take that ad and then we promoted it to a wider group of audiences, cold targets, so that we could get clicks back to the site and then get them to opt in specifically for the lead magnet that the video is about, as well as we capture them in our website custom audiences. So those website custom audiences, of course, it's a silent list that you create that Facebook owns. It's not like you get their email addresses and their names, but you can then retarget those folks with maybe other offers or maybe sort of the next step in your funnel or maybe more ungated content to kind of continue to warm them up or video ads or whatever it happens to be, so that you can really go for, your conversion, which is maybe it's a low priced offer, maybe it's your core offer. But typically, you're promoting these to cold audiences that you figured out through step 4 and putting the right message in front of them and figuring out, what message works best. And also all the while testing all your audiences as far as which one actually is the one that, resonates with your message, so that you can then take those audiences and then do even more research targeting and figure out other interests that are more similar to that. So, and with a lot of these campaigns, bear in mind, and I was talking to Molly about this last night, is that, sometimes in this step 8, when you actually set this stuff live, you might set, 10 different ad sets with 10 different interests, and only 1 or 2 of them might really work, which means that in most cases for us, we're failing probably about 8 out of 10 times. But you fail fast, test fast, optimize fast, and pause the ones that aren't working so that you can really dial in your message. And it sounds like Keith's back.
Exactly. Yeah, thanks. Okay, cool. So
how's the lawn looking?
It's looking good. Looking good. So, and they don't speak that good in English, so it's hard to kind of communicate. For real. So, but they're awesome. So, let's see here. So step 8 really is this is part of step 8, but then also you've got, well, before I get into the other part of step 8 is, as Ralph just talked about, here's an example of a previous client where on the left side, and we've talked about this in a bunch before, this is proven across the board in everything we're doing, but the left side here is average website clicks to a webinar. Okay, these audiences here are pretty much similar to these ones over here. These ones actually are even usually more expensive over here, but some of these have overlays too of people that make like high income, older demographic business business owners, right, that are making a high level income, and $2.71 per website click. And over here, this is going to a blog post, ungated content. This here is going to a webinar registration page. This one's getting 38 cents per website click, because these are getting 9 relevant scores. Okay, this one, it doesn't show the relevant score, does it? But these are probably 2 or 3, right, Ralph? On average, depending on what ad there is,
sometimes 1 or 2.
1, yeah.
Sometimes really, really low.
And that can be normal, and that's like, I get ads that are, I know Betty Rocker's on this probably. I know she's on this right now, and she's like, "What? How do you get like a 1 or a 2 or a 3? I get all 10s on all mine." So
I think she asked, "10s is getting 10s good all the time?" I think Julie asked that last week. It's like, I get all 9s and 10s. Shouldn't I get all 10s instead of some 9s? I'm like, oh my God, if I could only get 9s on all mine. But it doesn't necessarily equate to conversions. Bear in mind, this is a quality score, a relevance score from Facebook standards. So we might be getting 2 to 3 relevance scores on some of these conversion ads that Keith's highlighting on the left. but our conversions are where we need them to be. So you really want both. But at the end of the day, I mean, you want to keep your ad account safe and everything, but you also need conversions. You might want to dial in that message if you're not getting a high relevance score, but you are getting conversions. But
Right.
you do
Right.
want
So
both, but you still want to make ROI on this stuff.
yeah, and if you're targeting make money, improve your income, improve your business, grow, all that stuff, if you're driving traffic to some kind of a conversion mechanism, a landing page, you're not going to have 10 relevance scores. It's just never going to happen. Unless you're running a really high quality video ad, and you might get 8, 9, 10. You will. That's totally different. Okay, that's why we love video ads. But the as far as when you're running traffic to ungated content and you have blog written in the post, they don't have to have their guard down to get higher click-through rates and lower bounce rates and stuff, so it can help. So, but of course, part of step 8 is also generating leads. So we drive traffic to different types of lead generation pages, but a webinar registration page. So I might use a link post ad here, page post link ad, where you click the link, click the image, and it takes you right off of Facebook. Or I might run a video ad here, and where they can watch the video and then click the link. Okay, so I like to run these simultaneously if you can, because this is always branding you, and then this, typically a link post ad, is going to give you lower, a lot of times it just depends. It's going to give you cheaper clicks to website, because in a video you're getting charged every time they click play the video or they comment or they click see more. You're getting charged for all that stuff, right? Same thing here, but it's a lot easier for somebody just to click the image and go right to your landing page. But guess what? If they don't know who you are yet, if you just shook their hands, and you can't just like them see your ad, brand new cold traffic, and go right to a webinar that has no video on it, you have no social proof, you have no goodwill built up, it's not going to work. You're going to get 1s and 2s in relevant scores, and you're going to get high cost per lead. So you've got to be doing video to warm people up, or running traffic like this to content to warm people up, and then everybody that hits this is an audience now that you can target. So guess what? I can put this ad in front of somebody that's already visited my site but hasn't yet joined my list. So you're going to be generating leads, and some of these are going to be going this. You might test out cold traffic with this and see how it does. You might find out that it's only working with warm traffic. Video ad, same thing. I might target one ad set with warm traffic and another few more ad sets targeting cold traffic, because that video can kind of do that indoctrination for me. Sometimes a video ad can kind of, I guess, serve the same purpose as this here. Does that make sense? I know I've said that a lot, and it's tough sometimes for people to understand that. So, which is the reason why I usually don't run like a video ad to a piece of content, because you can get cheaper clicks to this page here with this kind of ad than you can with the video ad. In a video, if it's a good high quality video, it's serving a similar purpose as this is doing. Okay, it's pre-framing people, it's building your authority, credibility, and it sometimes can be creating goodwill, but maybe not. Depends on the kind of video. So I still like doing both.
Could you have done that with a video ad and then a link to get, the 9-step process in that case?
What do you mean?
I mean, what if you had done that instead of having it a link post ad, do a video ad of the video itself, and then just send them to a landing page that's just a static landing page with no video? Like the video warms them up in
That's
the
what this
newsfeed.
is. That's what this is here.
I'm saying,
yeah. What's that?
but that one's going to the webinar.
Yeah. Yep. You mean, but is that what you're talking about, to a landing page, to like a landing page, a
Well,
static landing page?
in the case of that post, just back-click there. There's just a question
Sure.
on this. Is that video on the right? If you had done that as your video ad, and then you send them, click on this to go to a landing page to get the 9-step checklist, was what the question was.
Yeah. No, great question.
Yeah.
And so absolutely yes, and I've done that. And so I'm just not showing that example here. So
Okay.
this, and I'm going to pull that up because it's a great question. So when I did the video ad webinar, I'll show you an example of where I've done this exact thing. Okay, and you can watch me talk about this in our recent webinars. Let's go to this one. here. So back to the members area here, recent webinars. Make sure you watch this one here, Facebook video ads A to Z. It's similar to these ones I did down here, but it's just a little bit more updated. And uh, so right here, this is what I call like an authority intro. The first ads that I ever ran on Facebook were a video ad to my Facebook checklist. So I wasn't like walking you through my Facebook checklist on the video like I did in that webinar one, but I was like, this is my first book that I wrote. Okay, I self-published this. It's a 122-page book or something like that. It's not the one that's in Barnes & Noble now. Okay, this was in 2010, and I said, hey, my name is Keith Krantz. I'm the author of The Complete Guide to Facebook Ads, blah, 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 and I'm giving away my free Facebook checklist. This goes to the same landing page we still use today, okay? Facebook checklist squeeze page. So absolutely, okay, especially if people don't know who you are yet. And the cool thing is you're building custom audiences for people that watch this video. So you're building audiences that you can retarget people. So does that make sense?
Which, yeah, that was the question, because you can create a retargeting list by people watching your video, and now it's 10 seconds or more, so it's a much higher quality on the low end, as well as 95% all the way through, basically.
Yep.
For that as well. So you can do both. When that ad was done, you didn't have that capability, but you do now through the video view campaign.
Yeah,
objective.
exactly.
Yeah.
So I'm going to increase this if I can grab it. So in the first part of this webinar, we talked about your user experience design, and notice what I have right here is I sometimes don't like to overwhelm people too much, so I don't want to put too much because I have a tendency to do that. But notice here, this is a Facebook checklist squeeze page. This is a webinar registration page. These are both landing pages. This video ad, I can drive a video ad to this. Of course, it's going to be a slightly different video, right? But notice I've got two arrows here. One, I can drive a video ad to a squeeze page. I can drive a video ad to a webinar. Like that's what Bree's doing here. Bree has a video ad. It's a 15-second awesome video going to a video landing page and getting like 35-cent leads every day right now as we speak. Yeah, not clicks. She's getting like, it's crazy. It's just, and you know what? You don't know what's going to work. You got to just start doing it. But the cool thing is when you're running like video ads, you're running ads to content, your ROI is not going to start out the way you want it. I guarantee it. But you're going to start getting data and you're going to start learning. But while you're getting data and learning, you're branding yourself. You're creating goodwill with these content pieces. You're building custom audiences. You're getting video views, and trust me, that's why Julie Huss sold 14,000 books last month of older books that wasn't even part of a book that was just being launched on a super low ad budget, because she'd been doing this leading up to that and experimenting. So your experimenting will pay off. It's pretty cool. So now, generate sales. I can run video ad like this or a link post ad, any type of ad I want, but this ad right here, let's say it's going right to my sales page, I'm going to make sure that this is not going out to cold traffic, right? This is only going to be targeting people that have maybe visited my blog post, or maybe only people that have opted in. Maybe I'm only targeting people that have been to this page but have not yet converted yet. And that's where that user experience design mind map comes in. So I'm going to target people on this. If I go back to the beginning, this is the way you want to build this map out. I can look down here and I'm going to know that this ad right here is going to be placed in front of leads and website custom audiences. So I'm targeting website custom audiences and leads. They don't have to be on my list yet to go to an offer like this, because it's such a good offer. If you look here, this is where they get the book free plus the Facebook Fast Start for free plus $4.95 shipping. So same thing Bree's doing. She's not only targeting leads to drive traffic to a sales page. She's targeting leads and people that have read her blog posts. But you can't do that if it's a $200 product, probably, unless you've got like a really, really compelling video, or maybe you can. So it's just, each situation is slightly different. So you've got to kind of figure out what you're offering how, big of a commitment is it for that audience to take? And then you can kind of figure out what kind of, ad to run. If I know all they have to do is just click your ad and read a blog post, they don't have to opt in, then you don't need a video ad to get people there. You don't need to warm somebody up to go to a piece of content. Just run a link post ad, right? If I'm driving traffic to a sales page or an order form, I'm probably going to need to use like a video ad or maybe a regular link post ad like this, but it's only targeting super warmed up audiences. So the type of ad you run is also going to kind of depend on where they're at in your world, how warmed up they are, right? That's why it's color coded. That's why this is color coded. So I can't stress enough how important it is to build this. So does that make sense? We getting any questions on that stuff? I mean, you've already actually brought up some great questions, by the way. Really good questions, you guys. Thanks. Keep bringing them.
We've got a wicked smart group.
Okay, so you hear me?
I think I know what text you're responding to.
No, it wasn't a text. It was Kyler
okay.
telling me about something cool. So yeah. All right, so we're actually gonna wrap this up here. So step 9 is to analyze and optimize, and this is where you're gonna look at there's a lot you can do in Facebook's reporting, but some of your stuff you're gonna do is you're gonna look at which ad sets should I turn off. Should I turn off this audience? Should I turn off desktop? Should I turn off mobile? Is my checkout page not working well? Should I start to bid down and bid down my bidding? So I might make adjustments and start to bid down my bidding and really start to look. Like I said, that's why when Bree first started, we started seeing a lot of checkouts coming from people that visited that blog post. So we're like, wow, let's ramp that up. So you're going to start to learn and from that. But we can't really go super deep into this today because it's just we've got more trainings on that. So, but I mean, Ralph, maybe.
Well, I
don't want to open up a can of worms here, but if you saw any great questions on this, go ahead and
We could talk a long time on analyze and optimize. That'll be a fun webinar when that comes up in a few weeks. But one of the questions was, when I start off, I don't know my ideal audience quite yet, but I don't know my ideal avatar and his age. I think this was Dean who asked this. Would you start off wide, or would you just take a guess as to what your ideal customer is? If I was starting a brand new campaign, I'd probably start really wide, go like, somewhere in the 20s as far as age goes, and maybe up to 60, mid 60s, depending on what your target market is, what your product is, all sort of dependent upon that. And then figure out through reporting which age as well as which gender potentially is responding best to your ads. So you might see a huge disparity between like male 35 and 44 than you do like female 55 to 64, for example, as far as cost per conversion or how they're engaging with your post, that kind of thing. So reporting, analyzing and optimizing, we could go into a lot. This gets pretty deep here, but just on a basic level, the reporting tab inside the Facebook's Ads Manager is your best friend. It really is. It will tell you exactly what you're doing, how you're doing it. It's not perfect. Probably about anywhere between 15 to 25% of the stats are off on it, but it's very directional as far as what ads are really working well for you. And this is a big, big step right here, and definitely something we can't get into too deeply here, but hopefully that's helpful.
Yeah, big time. So, okay, so basically, let's see here. The one thing I was going to show you is that we are going to be going deeper into this, but we have already in recent webinars. So if you go back in here and you look at, I believe it's right here. Okay, this is super relevant. This is not changed right here. January 2015, mining for gold. I call it a bonus because we did 3 webinars that month, I think, or something like that. Maybe we did 2 and we're only doing 1 back then. I can't remember, but Mining for gold, how to use Facebook's reporting and optimize your campaigns. Okay, watch this one, and yeah, so go ahead. You can watch that, but in the meantime, if you want to get more on this stuff. So
There's also agency bidding strategies in there too. I forget which tab it's in, but the one that you just pointed out for those
yep,
guys asking questions, definitely watch that one. It's I
yep,
don't think much has changed with regard to that.
yep, cool. Um, so let's see here. So that's the 9-step process. Absolutely. So I'm excited to really roll out in-depth trainings for all of these and everything in between over the next couple months. So um, great questions on this call. I think what Ralph thought I was like laughing about is the text coming through. I don't have my text app active right now, but I think it sounds like we're moving up the new noteworthy, right? Pretty fast.
Molly says we're on page one, but we've got over 1,100 downloads so far, and it's only been released for like an hour, so that's pretty good.
Wow.
Yeah.
Cool, super excited. So yeah, if you could definitely go listen to the podcast. Let us know what you think about it. There's a lot of good actionable stuff. Leave a review. We're giving away for those of you guys that are already members that have already had consults. We're going to be giving away other stuff too. And you can win a ticket to traffic conversion. Come hang out with us there. And we're going to be giving. I'll figure out a way. I'll send you a gift. Like if you're somebody that you win in the drawing, you don't want a consult, then we'll send you a gift that's worth the same amount. Maybe it's something from Amazon or something like that. So definitely we'll reward you if you don't want the consult. If you enter to win on that. So
For
um,
honest reviews. If you guys listen to the podcast and it really sucks, hopefully, you'll tell us, but we don't think you'll think that way, but we really do want honest reviews for you guys too. So just
yeah, and I'll put the
throwing that out
page in the
there.
chat right here, and then I'll also put the iTunes in there. So here's the page. Well, no, that page has the iTunes page in it, so you can just go check that out. I made a video yesterday. It's not the greatest video, but that wasn't too bad, I guess. But made it on the cuff as we were launching this and millions of other things. And tomorrow morning, heading out of town to go to Podcast Movement. Actually, we're Ralph's already in Austin. He's hanging out, staying at a place that's like a few blocks from Molly.
Yeah, she's like right around the corner, and it's just a cool little section of Austin. That's
Yeah,
awesome
so we're
here.
gonna hang out and we're gonna record a podcast. And what we're gonna do, by the way, is I think what we're going to do, we're going to record on Thursday and we'll do a Periscope. So we'll do a Periscope for part of that
Hmm.
while we're recording. Maybe we'll do it for the whole thing. You guys can see us. We're going to be at the Digital Marketer office on Thursday, 2 days, right? Yeah, today's Tuesday, right?
Yep.
And we're going to be recording. I don't know what time yet, so stay tuned. So while we're recording live, we'll do a Periscope and let you guys kind of sit in and watch us laugh and goof up and see some of the edited, uncut stuff. So
That's
um,
that's cool.
that's
Good
what we're gonna do.
idea.
So
Nice
yeah, what do
idea.
you think about
I
that?
love that.
So inside the Komodo a little bit. So great questions on this call. We're gonna wrap it up, I think. So other than that, go back to the members area. Maybe make sure you watch those trainings. Get inside the group, ask questions, and we'll talk to y'all soon.
See you guys.
See you.